We'll be going over the IRS Interactive Tax Assistant that helps taxpayers determine whether or not they are eligible to apply for an individual taxpayer identification number, or ITIN. So an ITIN is a tax processing number issued by the IRS for certain resident and non-resident aliens, their spouses, and their dependents. This would be the number that you would use on your tax return instead of a Social Security number. So if you already have a Social Security number, you do not need to use this tool. If you already have an ITIN, you probably do not need this tool. You do need your visa, the type of visa that you have, and the reason why you need an ITIN. If you can apply for a ITIN, you would use Form W7, which is the application for individual taxpayer identification number. So this tax tool is estimated to take about 7 minutes. It probably will take less time than that, but let's go ahead and begin. All right, so we're going to select continue to go through this tool. So has the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, USCIS, issued to you, or are you eligible for a Form I-551, which is the permanent resident card, also known as a green card? So let's select yes and just imagine that you are eligible for a green card. Then you have to select a reason why you want to apply for an ITIN. Let's say that you're claimed as a dependent on a federal tax return. So an ITIN will only be assigned to an applicant who qualifies to be claimed as a dependent on a U.S. tax return. Dependents can be claimed as exemptions only for tax years prior to 2018. The deduction for personal exemptions has been suspended due to the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act for the tax years between 2018 and 2025. So for tax years beginning after 2018, spouses and dependents are not eligible for an ITIN unless they qualify for an allowable tax benefit. So then there's more information about how an ITIN cannot be issued if you appear to be eligible for a Social Security number. Instead, you would apply for a Social Security number. Only after the Social Security Administration determines that they will not issue you an SSN would you then go through the IRS to obtain an ITIN. So you would apply for a Social Security card by filing Form SS5, I believe, with your tax returns. So we'll put links to the Form W7 instructions as well as the Social Security card application form in the instructions, just in case you determine later on that you might be eligible for a Social Security card. So let's say you're applying for an extension on IRS Form 4868. So in this case, you would not be issued an ITIN if you're eligible for a Social Security number. 4868 is the application for an automatic extension. It's that 6-month extension if you don't file your tax return by the original tax filing deadline, April 15th on or about. So that pushes your time frame to October. Let's go back and let's say that you're not eligible for a green card. So do you have a photo ID card or other citizenship documents? Is your ID card stamped as a resident alien, employment authorization, or do you have an employment authorization document? So then you would go back through, you're listed as a dependent on a federal tax return. How about a spouse? You're being claimed as a spouse on a joint tax return. In this case, you are not eligible to apply for an ITIN. An ITIN would only be assigned to an applicant whose spouse qualifies to be claimed on a U.S. tax return. It does say that you appear to be eligible for a social security number because you have a stamped U.S. citizenship and immigration services photo ID card that's valid for employment. So if you're eligible for a social security number, you're not eligible for an ITIN. So let's go back and say that you don't have a resident alien status, you're not authorized to employ. So do you have a visa? It can be current or expired. And then what type of visa do you have? So do you have a student visa? Do you have, let's just pick one at random, O2, O1 or O2 visa. Were you employed or will you be employed? Sure. Let's say that you're making an estimated tax payment. So you're not eligible for an ITIN. It appears that you're eligible for a social security number. So a lot of these situations basically say you're not eligible for an ITIN because you're eligible for a social security number. So it looks fairly complicated to go through every single one of these scenarios, unlike other tax assistant tools that have maybe 2 or 3 questions and a handful of options. There seems to be quite a few options that you can select. So that's all we have for this tax assistant tool. We'll put a link to this page in the show notes. We'll also put links to W7 articles that we've written, as well as other articles and videos that we've created on tax forms that have been mentioned in this video. So feel free to read any of our articles. If you want, go to teachmepersonalfinance.com. You can tap any of the links in the show notes if there's an article of interest. If there's a tax form that you're curious about, we write about all kinds of tax forms. Just type in the tax form number that you're looking for, and odds are pretty high that we've written an article about it. So if you like our articles, please subscribe to our newsletter. If you like our YouTube videos, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. And as always, if you have any questions or comments, please post them in the comment section. Thank you very much and have a great day.